least one of the following: strong language, disturbing topics, abusive opinions, generally things that aren't appropriate for little kids or overly sensitive people. So, if any of that stuff's going to get your nose out of joint, this is your chance to turn it off.
It's Aaron, your favorite unfiltered mess. Spitting takes so raw, they'll make your grandma stress. Is this, that, and the other? Life, politics, the whole damn scene. Whatever crosses my mind, or whatever I saw on my screen. Ooh, movies to munchies, games to the grind. Interviews flowing, this is starting to sound like a date, ain't it? Dinner, drink, sports, wait, you buying. If not, tough luck, my opinion still flying. No script, no filter, just pure chaos bliss. I might offend your auntie or your therapist. Society's clown show, yeah, I'm ringing the bell. If it's stupid, it's sacred, well, it had to be said. What the hell? Buckle up, buttercup, the mic's getting reckless. I had to say it. Now, pass the tissue for the trigger.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I Had to Say It. So we're going to start as we do by saying to Iceman, Jason, Javier, Fitzwick, Shane, El Jefe, El Devlin, El Morte, to the guys from the Report, to Billy G, to Walt from the B-Rob Podcast, to Kate the Duchess in New Jersey, to Boomer Bob, to George, sponsor of the World of Blaze Podcast, to Josh from New Hampshire, to Ken Madden of Mad K Studios, and to our most recent addition to the list, Lisa. And last but not least, and I'm going out of order here, to Bill and Dana of Clockham Craft Coffee. That's right, Clockham Craft Coffee, the finest bean juice you're going to find anywhere on the internet. Veteran owned and operated. Yeah, that's what I got. Go to clockhamcraft.coffee, get you some coffee. It's good shit. So anyway, we're going to start out with the big thing that's rolling off around my mind. I guess I'll apologize, even though there's, let's see, we've got the Mrs. and Shane McShane of Razor Wire News in the chat. I gotta quit doing that. I'm stealing John Domingo's bit. Hey Steve, thanks for joining us tonight. So anyway, yeah, I'm going off later than usual tonight. Had to go do some stuff. Had to go pick up some prescriptions. Had to give some blood work done because I got hey, we need you to come into the doctor's office tomorrow because you scheduled your appointment and then rescheduled it because all of a sudden you got a job and now your doctor wants to see you if you're going to keep getting your life-sustaining pills. So yeah, I had to go get some lab work done and do all this other shit. So I'm a little behind where I planned on being tonight. And that's just the long and the short of it. So the big thing I'm thinking about here this week, and I'm going to kind of just lead into it because this is going to go off the rails. This is going to be talking into let's see. Steve's about to walk into Kohl's, drop off some Amazons. If he can hijack their audio, play it on the speaker system. That sounds phenomenal. If you figure out how that works, let me know, and we'll start doing guerrilla tactics. We'll do some Project Mayhem shit all across the country. But anyway, yeah. So the first thing I want to lean into, yeah, there's been a lot going on. There's still more of the same old stupid shit, more of the same old distractions, more of the same old retarded stuff going on. There's one big thing I want to talk about, one little thing I'm going to touch on, and then, as usual, if the chat decides to try and steer the conversation in another direction, we will see where things go. But first thing, as always, first thing first, the housekeeping. I will be working on starting to set up, now that my schedule seems to be settling in a little bit, and I'm sure Shauna's going to love to hear this, but I am going to start scheduling some Friday night interview episodes because I got a whole bunch of people that want to come on the show and start, I don't know if they just think it'll be fun to come on a podcast and I want to be the one they want to do it with, or if it's just because they think it's going to be good to talk to me or it's going to be good to reach out to my audience. And I'm getting hit up a lot by people trying to book podcast guests recently. And I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know why I got kicked into the spaces where it's a case of, oh, hey, so-and-so's a lawyer. We think he'd be a great fit for your show based on how you were talking about this. And I mean, I'm sure it's a lot of AI parsing and sticking my extremely limited show notes into the search engines and going, hey, this might be a show that'll fit for your fucking idiot that you're trying to get, ears on things. And it's like, yeah, I'm sure your person would love to come in here and talk to my tens of loyal listeners. But that's neither here nor there. That's my own fault for not doing the work, not putting in the front end, not putting in show notes, because show notes, according to John Domingo, who is a very, one of the best kept secrets in podcasting, he says show notes should be anywhere up to a minimum of 300 characters, so the search engines have stuff to find out about your episodes, whereas mine are usually about 14 characters. Because let's be honest, if you've ever listened to one of my audio episodes, if you've ever pulled it up on any podcatcher on the fucking planet, you've seen my show notes. They're a joke. Because I don't take things seriously, up to and including this thing that I've been pouring the last 5 years into. But anyway, so back to the original point here. Lisa's in the chat too. Hi, Lisa. Hope you hit your numbers on your X account and you've managed to take it monetized and all that good shit. Hope your impressions launched. I'm not gonna say anybody that's listening to the show is probably already following you if they're on social media. So I'm not gonna say I had anything to do with that. I just hope you've been having a good time with that. Anyway, yeah. So back to what I'm trying to do, because I keep derailing my own chain of thought. The first thing, the little thing, the minor thing, the thing I wanted to slightly address is the White House, made a big pomp and circumstance sort of thing to say, we are going to release the first batch of UFO files. And frankly, it was a giant fucking nothing burger. It was a case of, let's see, Lisa said she got monetized, but not enough for a payout. Well, I'm sorry, but at least you hit the numbers. Congratulations. Rah, go team. Anyway, yeah. So the alien files, which it's a ton of fucking files. People are reading them. People are parsing them, trying to get anything out of it. All the declassified, unidentified phenomenon. Blah 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 blah. Big fucking nothing burger as far as I'm concerned. It's another rehash of the Epstein files. It's a bunch of shit where they tried to make it out like it was going to be this massive, religious leaders, get your flocks ready. This is going to, and it was a bunch of nothing. It was, oh yeah, no, there's some shit out there. We don't know what it is. They didn't, release any kind of actual, like, hey, here's something you should know about. It's a bunch of, shit that looks like, I'll give you a prime example of this. And I didn't dive too deeply into it. I'm still very tired, even though my schedule's, stabilizing and I'm getting used to my day-to-day grind now. I'm tired. When I come home, I want to hang out with my old lady. I want to watch some TV. I want to cuddle with the dog, and then I want to go to bed. So I haven't been paying as much attention to social media as I had been when I had nothing better to do with my time. But I did take a glance at it. Best thing I can compare it to is we have security cameras around our property for various reasons. Primary one being when we had a fire a couple of years ago, because I'm fairly convinced that fire was set deliberately by somebody who found a fun new hobby for a few weeks. Because there were multiple fires in our neighborhood in the span of a few days, but then they all abruptly stopped when a certain family no longer lives in the neighborhood. I'm not saying the two are related. I'm just saying there's a very strong possibility. But anyway, point being, we have security cameras. These security cameras, they're not the world's fanciest security cameras. But they're decent. They pretty clear pictures. You can make out details on things if you zoom in. Unlike what the movies will tell you, you can't just enhance a blurry video to all of a sudden make it magically clear. The resolution is what the resolution is. What you're displaying it at's a different story, which is why you can zoom in on some things and whatnot. But excuse me. So we have these security cameras as installed around the house, around the perimeter of the house. So we have like a 360 view of our area around the house, and these cameras have a night vision function. That it makes the footage weird. IR cameras pick things up differently. And sometimes we get spiders that will build webs in front of the cameras, and the webs will catch moisture out of the air and kind of reflects the IR beam back into the camera, and it makes these really weird little orbs on the on the camera while it's recording. That's what most of the footage I saw looked like to me, was little blurry specks in front of a camera at night. So thoroughly unimpressed by anything they fucking released. And, a bunch of documentation. I mean, it's, like I said, it's a lot like the Epstein files, except with less anal probing, I guess. So, God, I was working on that bit all day and I fucked up the delivery. Good job, Aaron. But yeah, so that's not really anything super interesting as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I know I need to reset I'm glad we were able to connect today because our internet was wonky all fucking weekend. Apparently our modem was dying. The cable company came out and put a new one in, and so I don't need to reset the hard drive on it. I need to reset the Wi-Fi on it because we can't log into it to check it unless we go to the physical box and switch it over there. Because the cameras are still working, they're still recording, but we can't log in on the app to check them. We have to actually get up and check them from where it's physically hooked up. So I do need to go reset the router on that thing. But again, that's something you can tell me when I'm not doing a live stream, woman. But anyway, so yeah, again, big nothing burger, not impressed, not happy with the outcome, which is going to bring me to, speaking of not being happy with outcomes, we're going to talk about the next thing I want to talk about. And this is where it's going to go a little off the rails. It's going to get a little tinfoil hatty. It's going to be a little bit more like, last week I mentioned that I could fix the world, but it would be brutal. It would be rough. And it's just indulging my megalomaniacal tendencies a little bit more than is probably healthy. So, yeah, we're going to go down that rabbit hole again because the thing I've been noticing here, and this has a lot to do with me being back out in the world and being back out in public, and I've been seeing a disturbing amount of motherfuckers all of a sudden masking up again. I know I'm not the only person that's seen this. I know I'm not the only person that's talked about this, but I'm going to be the only person I've heard say what's going to come out of my mouth so far. I mean, again, I've been out of the loop a little bit. Unfortunately, I missed Razorwire this week because I wound up working late and then just coming home and passing out. So I was very disappointed to miss it. I'm going to have to go back. I started trying to catch the replay, except for I was listening to it instead of like going to pull the replay off of their Substack like I probably should have. I was playing the replay off of Spotify, and man, there's a lot of fucking ads on there. I mean, I don't deny anyone their ads. I understand. But man, it ruins the flow for me. So, I'm going to go do it the right way and get caught up. But anyway, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely missing the mark. Maybe Fitz and McShane discussed this exact thing during the show, but I don't know for certain. What I do know is I've been seeing a lot of people masking up recently, and I'm 100% sure it has everything to do with these hantavirus outbreak from the cruise ship that was in the Caribbean, and all of a sudden there was some fucking low-T jagoff on there who was doing like a stream talking about how we're on the ship and we're not being allowed to leave. We're not a story. We're people. No, motherfuckers, you're morons because you're on a floating fucking, outbreak session and you're whining that you're not allowed to get off of it. Well, too fucking bad because we really don't need to, no, Lisa, I was not saying they talked about my security cameras. I was saying they're talking about the people masking up due to the hantavirus. But so anyway, yeah, so we've got this. Oh, well, this is the first case of hantavirus being transmitted, person to person. It's usually transmitted by exposure to rat feces because hantavirus is a nasty fucking viral outbreak that has about a 40% mortality rate. When you catch it, there's a really good chance it's not quite even money, but it's a case of, there's a very real possibility you'll go tits up if you catch it, and there's not a vaccine for it. There's not it's what it is. It's an outbreak. So you get this whiny, self-important cunt that's on a cruise ship talking, oh, we're not a story. We're people. We have names, we have feelings, we have ramblings, we have rights. You have to let us off this boat. No, motherfucker, we need to think about the grander picture of things and not start another fucking pandemic. But, that's neither here nor there. They fucking let everybody off the thing, and they let everybody off the ship. I believe they shipped them to North or South Dakota to quarantine there for a little while to make sure all that doesn't get out of hand. And, the fucking... So the talking heads, the media, the fucking, as Steve pointed out in the chat, the World Health Organization, and everybody starts pushing this shit. Oh my God! It's going to be the hantavirus. This is the next thing. It's mutated now. It's airborne. It's passing from person to person. And then they said there was a stewardess who got it that gave it to like 2 passengers or some shit like that. And the point is, they blew their wad with fucking COVID. They didn't do. Oh, Shauna said it's in Nebraska. They stuck the cruise ship people in. Whatever. I don't fucking. So one of the flyover states. You know, and saying as somebody who lives in a flyover state, I don't fucking care. They're not here. They're not my problem. Put them in some fucking compound with a fence around them until we're sure they're not a fucking problem anymore. Because frankly, I'm not doing this shit again. And I know a lot of people feel this way. I know there's a very significant portion of the population in this country and probably around the world that says we're not doing this shit again. You shut down the planet over a fucking flu that had a 90-some% survivability. I mean, it was like literally the lethality on fucking COVID, despite all the hype and bullshit, was like less than 1%. The majority of the people that actually died due to COVID didn't actually die from COVID. They had either massive morbidities that were a problem, or they died from fucking being intubated when they didn't need to be, and things like that caused complications that caused them to go tits up. Very rarely was their death directly attributable to the virus, and nobody wants to fucking acknowledge that fact. But now, we're seeing in hindsight, oh yeah, that was the case. It was over fucking hyped. It was overworked. It was overreacted. It was stupid. So now we have an entire culture basically that's saying we're not doing that again. You're not shutting the world down again for this shit. You're not going to be the one that says, hey, I'm not putting this mask back on. You're not taking away my freedoms. You're not taking away my rights. We did that shit. And it's, part of me is actually kind of tickled that that's the way a lot of people are reacting, that's seems to be the fucking vein a lot of people are going in. But then, and this is where Aaron has a really weird way of looking at life sometimes, and Aaron thinks about things from a really, really dark fucking place. Because I got to asking myself, we were talking about the megalomaniacal shit you would do to reset the world last week. Let's look at this through the lens of what would Aaron do if Aaron was in a position to try and reset the world. If I was in a position of being a, global depopulationist, if I was some self-important, sanctimonious, multi-billionaire piece of shit who wanted to fucking stage something like this, if I was a cabal of child fucking pieces of shit who secretly were running everything from the fucking shadows, how would I approach a bunch of people who are all of a sudden, a problem, people that I think need to be removed, people that I want to depopulate? Well, if I was going to do this in, playing the long game kind of situation, the first thing I would do is introduce something relatively harmless and massively overreact to it, causing people to shut down their lives, lose their businesses, lose their livelihoods, lose their freedoms. Pump them full of a bullshit vaccination that did literally nothing, all in the interest of building this resistance to anything, resembling that kind of reaction from the government, from the powers that be, from the companies, from who, insert random baddie who people are blaming for the fucking way they bent over and went along with it, up to and including myself. I am not admitting myself from this. I wish I could say I stayed strong and remained a pureblood and didn't get the fucking jab, but I figured I owed my family better than that, and I needed to keep my job more than I needed to keep my fucking pride, and I regret it every goddamn day ever since. But you can't take it back. You can't unfuck the nun. You can't unscrew, it's just, it is what it is. So, but let's say hypothetically, if I wanted to make a massive dent in the fucking population and I was in a position to do so, I would say, hey, you know what we need to do is we need to get everybody in a, especially the people that are going to be a problem to our long-term plans, the people that, have the ability to think critically, the people that have the ability to recognize patterns, the people that aren't, fucking mud-dwelling third world shithole people. Because let's be honest, if I were some shadowy cabal elitist motherfucker who was trying to manipulate the world from the shadows and run the strings and pull the strings and run the world, people that communicate with each other, people that are intelligent and critically thinking, are a much bigger threat than a bunch of fucking third world shitheads who could, as long as they're allowed to fuck their choice of livestock and marry children, that they're real easy to control. Yeah, I would actually be more interested in wiping out the people who have the ability to think critically and question my superiority and my elitism. So what do? Again, I'm kind of talking in circles here, but you run a pandemic that is going to just fry every single thinking individual's tolerance for this shit, who's going to make everybody go, masking is stupid, it doesn't work. These shots are ridiculous, I'm never taking another one again. And then, a couple of years later, when this has had time to stew and the resentment's had time to build up, and, you selectively leak facts that show all the tinfoil hat guys were right, and you should definitely never, ever, go along with this kind of shit when it happens again. Then you pump something out that's way more fucking virulent and way more fucking lethal. And everybody looks at it from a stance of, well, I'm not doing that shit again. I'm not taking a shot. I'm not going to put on a fucking mask. I'm not going to socially distance because that shit was stupid and it didn't work last time. And then all of a sudden you have a massively lethal, extremely viral plague just ravishing the population, particularly of the critically thinking people who no longer trust your judgment or your guidance. So when you tell them you should get the shots and do the things, you're going to only manage to keep around the very compliant, complacent, easily handled, easily manipulated people, and all the people in the third world shitholes who have natural higher immunity because they're exposed to fucking stuff that comes along with living in a third world shithole when you don't have basic sanitation and things like that. You tend to have a higher natural resistance to certain fucking things. So, that's the conspiracy theory part of my brain speaking up and saying this is probably what's going to be going on. But, in the daytime when I'm looking at things, I don't necessarily think it's going to be all that thing. But I do think the whole people are definitely overreacting to the fucking anybody you see in a mask right now is probably one of the chosen in terms of how it's going to be played out. Those are the people that they drank the Kool-Aid, they believe the lies, they're on their fucking 37th booster already. It bothers me. And no, Shauna, that we'll never know if they actually get the vaccinations or not because there's literally nothing to stop them from injecting saline on camera and saying, oh, look, we got it. Nobody knows what's in those fucking syringes except the people administering them. And there's not a damn one of those people that anybody I can think of trusts anymore. So anyway, so yeah, that's just kind of what's been rolling around in my brain today and like I said, maybe it's because I've actually been seeing a surprising uptick in people that are masking up. I'm not really a fan of the concept. If they start enforcing it, I'm going to be a little more stubborn about not going along with it this time myself. Even though, like I said, my brain's already telling me, well, maybe that's exactly what they want from you. Maybe they want you to be stubborn now because that means you're going to be more likely to get wiped out. But at some point, it's the chance you take. It's the maiden's choice. There is no right answer, I don't think. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's a case. I mean, realistically, if I'm right, we're not going to be able to do anything about it. If I'm wrong, great, nothing changes. But yeah, that's really the only thing I've actually got particularly stuck in my craw this week. Been working a lot, been dealing with a lot of things. Although I do actually have something else. This is completely unrelated to anything other than just general irritation on my part. This may not resonate with anybody, but I never worry about that too much when I do these shows because it's about getting shit off my chest, not really about trying to say something that's going to go viral or be super smart or get all the followers or any of that shit. And the thing I'm thinking is, just this past weekend was Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And, to all the trans mothers out there, I would just like to say Father's Day is next month, dipshit. But, yeah, that's neither here nor there. Not trying to be needlessly controversial. I'm just trying to say biology is a thing. But anyway, so over the course of Mother's Day, I was working this weekend at my buddy's restaurant, helping out there, doing my what I got to do to make sure I have access to the facility so I can do my spices. And I noticed a thing, and little background information. The restaurant it's more of a carry-out kind of thing. I mean, there's some seating, dine-in seating, but not a lot. And we were surprisingly fucking busy earlier in the day. Breakfast, brunch, lunchtime, you know. Um, a lot of people, a lot of people ordering pizza and sandwiches and a lot of carry-out. And not, yeah, you know, it's nice and all if people are sitting there going, "Hey, mom, you shouldn't have to cook today." But for fuck's sakes, whatever happened to taking mom out to a nice fucking dinner? Showing a little appreciation or doing a nice home cooked meal. Who the fuck says, "Hey, mom, happy Mother's Day. Let's get a pizza." For fuck's sakes. I mean, is it really so goddamn hard to make a little effort? I mean, because getting a reservation at a nice restaurant is one thing. Because then you're going out, you're doing the whole experience. You don't have to cook. You don't have to clean. You don't have any kind of mess in your fucking house. When you pick up 3 fucking giant pizzas, that means you're having a bunch of motherfuckers eating pizza all together. Somebody's going to have to do those goddamn dishes. There's going to be a mess in the house. It's going to be utterly ridiculous. And it's just, to me, that just seems so chintzy. And I shouldn't complain because, that's money in the pockets of the guy who's helping me out and keeping his, making some money for his business. So. But it doesn't strike a chord with me as being the right way to celebrate Mother's Day. Well, okay. Lisa raises a valid point. Restaurants are too people-y. I can concede that. I am, as someone who is not a fan of people in my own right. I can see being too people-y may be a thing for some moms. Still doesn't change the fact that I just feel like ordering a pizza on Mother's Day is just just feels chintzy to me. Like I said, it's not, I mean, I shouldn't be judgy, but that's what I do. So I judge a lot, and I feel like that's just, I don't know. I feel like for Mother's Day, mothers deserve better than a pizza. And don't get me wrong, I make an amazing fucking pizza. I really do. I'm phenomenal at it, but, that's not what I'm going to do for my mom for Mother's Day. I mean, now to be fair, full disclosure, my mom got a phone call for Mother's Day because I was on my way to work. And so she actually had to deal with what I'm like while I'm driving. Okay, Shauna says you can order in a nice meal. Yeah, you can. Not from a pizza place. But anyway, so that's really actually all I got in the tank today. It's a very short episode, very abbreviated. And now Lisa's saying pizza is her favorite. Okay, so maybe I'm completely missing the mark on this one. I just, like I said, to me, it just, I don't know. It felt like a kind of a phoning it in kind of situation. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just because I'm, in a weird place and I was tired and didn't want to deal with it. I don't know. But in the meantime, a couple other things I want to cover real quickly. In a special little shout out to anybody that might be aware of it. Not like I don't talk about the Boomer Bunker on a semi-regular basis anyway, but if you are a podcaster and I'm always harping on you guys to send me, promos that you don't do, what you can also do is you can send them to John over at the Boomer Bunker because he would also like promos for podcasts. So, yeah, that's something else you could do. And let's see. Lisa says, order calzones. It's an origami pizza. Yeah, actually, calzones are fun. I always thought of it as more as a, giant hot pocket, but origami pizza is a fun way of looking at it, I suppose. See, Shauna said they used to have Mother's Day brunches with bottomless mimosas and shopping day fairs. Yeah, that's true. I spent years working at Mother's Day brunch, when I was working at the golf course. And every Mother's Day I was there making omelets and working carving stations, depending on, what part of the day it was. I usually got put on omelets because I was really good at it. I mean, you can get any of the new kids could go out and work a carving station. And I could slice those carving stations super thin, but I could also run, 7 pans at one time on an omelet station, whereas, most of the time you'd get 4. But I was just that damn good. So I could run. Usually they would stick me on one omelet station. It was the way it was set up was two cooks per omelet station, 4 burners each. But I always got paired with like one of the new kids who wasn't very good at it. So I would run my 4 burners plus 2 of their burners while they were just working the other 2. And Yeah, like I said, it used to be really good at stuff. Now I'm just old and grumpy and puffy. Um, in a side note, other fun thing is on my way to go do medical stuff. I happened to drive past the gym, and I did go in and sign up to get my gym membership back. So I will be back to trying to get rid of the rest of this very shortly, and then then I'll be all swollen, sexy on the stream instead of just fat and bald. And anyway, so yeah, that's really all I got. Again, I mean, this short episode's like 25, 30 minutes, I think, at this point. Recording 31 minutes as of right now. So I'm going to open it up to the chat while I grab this recipe real quick to read you guys' recipe. All right, here's a good one. It's not the one I thought I was going to have queued up, but it's short, it's sweet, it's very simple. This is a garlic honey sriracha wing sauce. This is something that you could just, make some boneless or bone-in wings. Now, oh, by the way, just say something controversial. Boneless wings are fucking nuggets. I'm sorry, that's the truth. It's not that they took a wing and pulled the bone out of it and then breaded it and fried it. No, it's fucking breast meat chunks that they cut into random shapes because it's trim, and then they fucking bread them and fry them. That's all they are. But anyway, I digress. So this is garlic sriracha honey sauce for wings. You take 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, 1/8 of a cup of sriracha sauce, 1/2 of a cup of honey, and 1/2 teaspoon of soy sauce. Stir it all together. Mix it really good. Toss your cooked wings in it. Make sure your wings are cooked before you toss them in the sauce. Now, if you want to get fancy with it, what I like to do is I like to put the sauce in a big stainless steel bowl and heat the sauce up so the sauce is warm when you put the wings in it. Then you toss it, and then when you toss it, it coats it really nice, glazes it, and then you put it on your wings, and you eat the wings, and they're delicious. And they're actually really good. As I've stated repeatedly on this show, I'm not a huge fan of ranch. I don't like ranch with buffalo wings. I don't like ranch with I'm a blue cheese guy. If I got to put sauce with buffalo sauce with a dipping sauce for chicken, but when it comes to ranch, I'm not really a fan. Now, with this garlic honey sriracha, it's got a little sweet, it's got a little heat. But what it pairs really nicely with is actually like a hot mustard, because then you get 2 different kinds of hot, and you get the sweet to balance it out, and it's really good. But that's just me. So, okay, let's see. Lisa said she's okay with that. I'm sorry, Lisa. What are you okay with? I missed when the comment came up, and plus with the lag, I'm not sure how that, what you were responding to. Oh, by the way, I'm looking at another option in terms of, I keep forgetting to cancel my Zoom account, but I'm thinking about switching over to maybe StreamYard or a different service for streaming, depending on how the platforming goes and everything like that. But it may actually, I'm trying to find a way to do a live time chat with the thing. Oh, boneless wings. Yeah, no, boneless wings are okay. I'm not saying there's anything against them. I'm just saying technically they're not fucking wings. I actually usually get the boneless if I'm going out, because that way I don't have to take the time to take the bone and set it off to the side, so I can shovel things down my gullet fucking faster. Because as you can tell by looking at me, I love food going in my face hole. It makes me happy. It makes me puffy. Yes, I completely agree, Lisa. Wings are way too much work for very little meat. Although at the end of the day, you want to talk about wings being too much work. If you really want to see a wing being too much work, look up Drums of Heaven. They are the most obnoxious way to eat a wing on the fucking planet. We used to have to do them for appetizers when I was in culinary school. It is Drums of Heaven, I believe that. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Now I feel like I need to look it up. But it's literally, you take it only works for the paddle, the flats on the wings. And you cut the one end off of it right at the joint. You cut the other end off a little past the joint, so you're cutting into the bones. And then you pull the skinnier of the 2 bones out of the wing, and you press the meat down so it makes a little like a little Thor's hammer chicken wing, where the one bone is sticking out, and then there's this little ball of meat at the bottom. And then you glaze them, and you have to roast them, because you can't, or I suppose you could, if you froze them, you could fry them, but I don't think frying them is ideal. So let's see. Let's see what the Google box says. Yep, drums of heaven, popular Indo-Chinese appetizer featuring. Oh, they do crispy fry them. When I did them in school, we roasted them in the oven. Crispy fried chicken lollipops tossed in a sweet and spicy and tangy sauce. So I guess you could actually use the garlic honey sriracha sauce to make drums of heaven. Let's see, glossy soy garlic coating, making it a beloved flavor bomb. Yeah, so these don't look like the ones I used to make, but they're similar. The same shape and all that, but they're a massive pain in the ass though. Yeah, no, I'm not encouraging anyone to go out and do this. It's apparently the drums of heaven is the method, and chicken lollipop is what they consider the actual item itself. So that's according to the internet, but we all know the internet's never wrong. So yeah, that's really all I got for tonight. Again, sorry for the late start, sorry for the lack of content, as has been pretty much the standard lately. Although, most weeks I do manage to work my way into a tithy, so there's at least a decent rant coming out of the process. But, yeah, beyond that, I kind of got nothing. So I'm going to open up to the chat for about 30 seconds, see if anybody's got anything to say. Out of the three of you that are in here, I appreciate you guys, giving me your time and your information. Yeah, all right. Well, since there's not really anything going on here, I'm gonna stick a pin in it and say thanks for listening, guys. And for now, that's what I had to say.